A very good morning to all of you, and once again greetings to all of you from the Govardhan Eco Village where I'm currently staying and doing this Facebook live sessions for the 21 days habit challenge. So many different people from so many different parts of the world logging in. My sincere greetings and gratitude to all of you once again for joining us on the 4th day of the 21 days habit challenge. A quick recapitulation of what we discussed in our session yesterday morning. We heard that the time taken to deal with our habits is actually dependent on many factors. The two primary factors being, one, how long have we been into that habit and how deep it has sunk into our systems. And number two, how intense our efforts are, how hard are we working to really get rid of that habit. So depending on how long, how deep and how intense our efforts are, we would be able to achieve success in dealing with those bad habits that we are conditioned by. The second thing that we discussed yesterday morning was, as soon as we decide to make a resolve to do right and live by the right, we're going to be tested for what we decide. We always have two choices. One is to listen to our lower self and indulge. Two is to listen to our higher self and improve. Every single time we listen to our lower self, we are going to lose the strength to say no to that temptation the next time it comes. And every single time we say yes to our higher self by abstaining or staying away from that temptation, we are rewarded with the strength to say a no to that temptation next time, and block by block, as we build on our strength, one day we'll be off that habit. And the third thing that we discussed yesterday was, yes, we have to grow up, and the only reward we would want for ourselves if we pass the test after test is the pleasure of doing it right and offering it as a loving offering to God. But simultaneously, I also think in the beginning it is important that we set a certain small reward for ourselves. If we are doing things right over a period of 5-6 months, if we decide a target, maybe we can reward ourselves with a small something, whatever that reward might be for us, and that could be a motivation to continue struggling and dealing with our bad habits, at least in the beginning. Our reflection for day 4 of the 21-day habit challenge is this. We all want to be extremely smart. We want to be smart in achieving those things that we want in our lives. And management experts and researchers have said that if we want to achieve what we want in our lives smartly, we must also be able to set smart goals. And they have said that unless we set smart goals, it is very difficult for us to reach where we want to be in our lives. And SMART is a very smart acronym for our SMART goals. The S in the SMART stands for specific. We should be able to make our goals specific. And on the very first day, we discussed about this. Identify that one specific bad habit that we want to deal with. And I believe most of you have done that. Become very specific about the goal you want to achieve in terms of dealing with your bad habits. The second one, the M in the SMART, stands for measurable. Now this is something that we haven't discussed over the last 3 days, and our reflection for day 4 will focus more on the measurable side of the SMART goal. The A in the SMART stands for attainable. We even discussed this, that whatever goal we are setting for ourselves should be attainable. It should be within our capacity to deal with. If we go to the gym for the first day, we cannot be having a barbell press straight away. We should start with what is attainable, what is within our capacity, those small little dumbbell shoulder presses. Those little tiny micro installments that we want to make, those little increments that we want to make in trying to reach our goals, attainable. The R in the SMART stands for realistic. Our goals should be realistic. They shouldn't just be wishful thinking. Like if I'm a tiny, skinny little fellow, and if I want to be a strong bodybuilder the next day, it's just wishful thinking. Our goals should be realistic. If any of you want to be the President of the United States, the Prime Minister of England, or the Prime Minister of India, or the President of Canada, or the Chief Minister of Gujarat, whatever you want to be, you might want to be that. Fair. But that's just wishful thinking. Your goal is not realistic. So our goal should be realistic, not just a wishful dream. And last but not the least, the T in the SMART stands for our goals, and the way we achieve them should be time-bound. Let's say, for example, if we are dealing with a certain habit, to quit smoking as an example, let's give ourselves 6 months or 8 months, and with those micro installments go on reducing to a stage where we come to zero extremely comfortably. Our goal should be time bound. Give 6 months, 8 months, whatever you want to for your particular habit, and then you should also be able to achieve that based on the time that you've set for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, what we want to dwell on this morning in our reflection on the 4th day is the M in the SMART. How to make our goals and our progress measurable. How do we track our progress as we move in our journey to deal with these bad habits over the time that we have set for ourselves? And it's really important that we be able to track our progress and measure our programs. Otherwise, it's just something wishy-washy going on in our minds. Otherwise, it's something wishy-washy going in our lives. We're not truly committed to something unless we are able to measure the tangible progress that we make in our journey and in our development in dealing with these bad habits. I recently read a very interesting story. Actually very interesting. Two friends, Anil and Mukesh, both of them were studying in the same university, the same course, in the same class. They graduated together as well and got a job in the same company. After a couple of years, the senior management decided to promote Mukesh to the post of a senior sales manager. Anil, however, stayed at the same position as a junior sales officer. Now both had joined the organization at the same time. Both were extremely hardworking, dedicated and committed to the work that they were into. Yet Mukesh had been promoted. Anil stayed where he was. Anil after a while started feeling very insecure with Mukesh, and feelings of jealousy started surfing into his mind towards Mukesh. And one day it was just so hard for him to handle Mukesh, he actually came to the senior manager and offered his resignation letter, cribbing and complaining that this is a place where everything's biased, certain people are favored, hard work is not valued. The senior manager realized that Anil was a hard-working guy as well, giving his 200% to his work. But Mukesh had that special streak, that special element which had actually bagged him that promotion. And to show Anil the difference between him and Mukesh, the senior manager told Anil, I want you to do this task for me. Go in the town and find out if there's someone selling watermelons. Anil went for the task. After a while he returned back and told the senior manager, yes, there is a farmer close to where we are who's selling watermelons. The senior manager asked Anil, and at what rate is he selling those watermelons? Anil said, well, I did not find that out. He drove back to where the farmer was and returned to tell the senior manager that the farmer was selling the watermelons at a rate of 13 rupees and 50 paise per kilo. Now to show Anil the difference, right in front of Anil, the senior manager called Mukesh and said to Mukesh, look, I want you to do a task. Go into the town and find out if someone is selling watermelons. Mukesh went and after a while returned back and in front of Anil reported to the senior manager, sir, there is only one farmer in the whole town who's selling watermelons. He's charging a rate of rupees 49 for one watermelon. If you buy half a watermelon, he charges us 32 rupees and 50 paise. If you're going to buy it at a rate of per kilogram, he charges 13 rupees and 50 paise per kilogram. He has 93 watermelons in stock at the moment, and each of those watermelons weighs about 7 kilos per watermelon. Not just that, his watermelons are fresh, red, sweeter than the ones we sold last year. He has a farm and is willing to supply us the watermelons for the next 4 weeks at a rate of 102 watermelons per day. And if we buy all 102, instead of charging 49 rupees per watermelon, he will charge us only 27 rupees per watermelon. This would make us a profit of 223 rupees per day and increase our overall sales performance per day by 3.78%. Plus, he has a free slicing machine and he's willing to deliver the watermelons at our doorstep free of charge. Sir, I have put all this information in a spreadsheet, and if you like it, I can email it to you within just about 15 minutes. The senior manager looked at Anil, and Anil got the point. Mukesh was much smarter than him. Why was he smart? Because he was specific, because everything he spoke was measurable, because everything that he was talking about was attainable, because everything that he was talking about was realistic, and everything he was talking about was time bound. He said that the farmer wants to strike a deal with us before 10 in the morning, otherwise he is not interested. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have to look at the measurable side of our goals in terms of dealing with our habits. So here's my suggestion for day 4. I feel we need to start writing down the progress that we are making in our journey of dealing with our bad habits. This is why I truly recommend writing a habit journal every single day as we are taking this 21-day habit challenge, and even thereafter till we actually completely chuck that habit out of our lives. Yes, we can keep all this information in our mind. I know we would say, what's the need to write down? We can remember it. But will we be able to remember so much information over so many days as we are dealing with the goal of our bad habits? I doubt. If you can, no problem. You can just keep it in your mind. But ideally, it's just better that we start writing a habit journal. Here is how I would prefer to write a habit journal. Page 1, I would like to put down an inspiring quote. The thing that inspires me is this: if you believe in a God, I believe in one. I would like to write this as the inspiring quote. I mentioned that on the first day. If we are beautiful, it's God's gift to us. If we live our life beautiful, it's our gift to God. On the second page of the habit journal, I would like to write the S, the specific goal, the habit that we have identified to deal with, in bold capital letters. I would then like to write the A in the SMART, the attainable goal, the micro installment that we have decided for ourselves to take in terms of dealing with our habit, reducing something regularly. And I would also like to write the T, the time over which I would like to deal with this habit. 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, a year, whatever is practically possible for us. And I would also like to write down the specific reward that I want to give myself at the end of this time if I deal with that bad habit. The reward could be a watch, like I said. It could be a pair of good sports shoes. It could be a new outfit for yourself. It could be a holiday that you want to take. Whatever reward, jot it down. And the next page onwards, I think we should start mapping and jotting down our daily progress. Every single day, put down the date and the day, and write down at the end of the day, how did you do throughout the day? If you were successful in sticking to that installment and you did not falling into that temptation that you decided you don't want to fall to, then just write down what were those parameters, what were those elements, what were those factors that actually made you succeed. Did it happen by coincidence? Were you conscious of avoiding it? Were the people around? Were you staying away from the surroundings and temptations that were kind of responsible for your bad habit? What were you doing? Were you praying? Were you chanting? What was it that was responsible? Write down those parameters. Carry that to your next day. Enhance your performance in terms of achieving that goal in your bad habit the next day. Jot down. If you fail and you're not able to keep up, write down what were those responsible factors and elements and parameters that made you fail. Was it the people who were discouraging you? Were you very mentally worked up? Was it the stress because of which you, for example, started smoking again, the number of cigarettes that you decided you wouldn't want to smoke? Was it the people around you who triggered that impulse, and therefore, although you decided you didn't want to be angry, you got angry? How can you stay away from those situations? Analyze every single day. Jot down those parameters, those principles, those factors, those elements which were either responsible for your success or your failure. Map your progress. Track your progress. Over a week's time, you'll be able to see the number of days that you were successful, the number of days you were failure, the factors were responsible for your success, the factors responsible for your failure. Over a period of a month, you will be able to clearly track your progress. You will be able to have a graph, a pie chart in seeing how your progress is moving towards its destination. This kind of a habit journal will make our progress measurable, and the more you see measurable, tangible result in how you are moving towards your goal, you will feel confidence and inspiration to take that next step in your progress. And if you see you're not doing very well, you will have to work on building that confidence and taking those small steps to improve. And therefore, if you want to write it down in a book, fine. If not, I'm sure each of you use a smartphone, and on your smartphones you can start jotting down your SMART goals and your habit journal in progressing towards those SMART goals. Day 4, our reflection is make your goals measurable. Start writing a habit journal. Track your progress every single day. Observe yourself all over the week. How have you done through the week? Observe yourself over the month. How have you done over the month? And take that next step to improve in your habits. I wish to thank all of you once again for joining us on the 4th day of our 21 days habit challenge, and wish you all a great day ahead and a great journey in your measured SMART goals in making progress in dealing with your habits. See you tomorrow once again at Indian Standard Time, 8 o'clock on the 5th day of our 21 days habit challenge. Until then, thank you very much. A great day ahead. Hare Krishna.